From Gaza to Damascus, from the Red Sea to Lebanon's southern hills, the Middle East is turning into a pressure cooker of converging crises. What started as a localized conflict has morphed into a region-wide showdown, with Israel now engaged on multiple fronts, reshaping the security calculus of the entire region and potentially the world. Israel's military campaign, once focused squarely on Hamas and Gaza, is now entangling it with a web of adversaries across the Middle East. In this report, we analyze how Israel's battlefield has rapidly expanded across Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and the Red Sea, dragging in powerful regional and international players. In the north, Israel is now trading artillery and drone fire with Hezbollah militants in Lebanon, with daily exchanges pushing both sides to the brink of all-out war. In the east, Israeli jets have conducted precision strikes in Syria, most recently targeting Iranian and Hezbollah-aligned positions in Damascus, as discussed in recent airstrike reports. This is no longer just about borders, it's a war of influence, ideology, and survival. But in recent months, this has evolved into overt, high-risk missions, some even risking clashes with Russian and U.S. forces who maintain strategic presence in Syria and Iraq. Israeli leadership argues this approach is necessary to avoid strategic encirclement by Tehran and its proxies. The Iraqi frontier is now another flashpoint. Israel has allegedly struck positions of Iran-backed militias in Iraq, signaling that it views Tehran's proxy network as a unified threat requiring preemptive action across borders. Red Sea shipping disruptions due to Houthi missile attacks have pushed freight prices up by over 300%, while oil markets remain volatile, with Brent crude inching past $90 amid fears of Iranian retaliation. Ceasefire resolutions have stalled repeatedly, while Western support for Israel remains high despite international calls for restraint. International airlines are rerouting flights, increasing costs for millions of travelers. It's proactively confronting threats across national borders, and that comes with dangerous long-term implications. The World Bank warns that prolonged conflict could slash regional GDP by as much as 3.5%, worsening poverty and migration across North Africa and the Levant. Each new front creates new enemies, stretches military resources, and raises the risk of triggering a region-wide war that Israel may not be able to control, especially with domestic unrest and political instability brewing at home. We examine the military tactics, the economic and diplomatic costs, and the growing humanitarian fallout. Gaza remains devastated, with over 30,000 casualties reported, and rebuilding is still a distant dream amid continued fighting. In southern Lebanon, villages are emptying as Hezbollah and Israeli forces exchange daily fire. In Yemen, U.S.-Israeli airstrikes have reignited a crisis already worsened by years of civil war. Civilians across the Middle East are once again trapped between global power plays and local militia agendas. What began as a response to Hamas' October 7 attacks has evolved into a regional conflict. In the south, Israel has intensified its air and naval operations in the Red Sea, targeting Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, where Iranian-backed rebels have launched missiles and drones against Israeli and U.S. allied vessels. By the numbers, Israel has conducted over 300 strikes outside Gaza since October 2023, an aggressive campaign that has elevated the conflict from territorial defense to regional offense. Israel's military escalation is being framed not merely as a response to individual attacks, but as part of a wider campaign to dismantle what it calls the Axis of Resistance, a strategic alliance of Iranian-backed groups including Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iraqi Shia militias. The logic is simple but controversial: strike early, strike deep, and prevent a multi-front war by confronting it head-on. This doctrine, known as Mabamor campaign between wars, has historically guided Israel's shadow operations against Iran and Syria. However, critics warn this policy is dangerously close to backfiring. Beyond the missiles and air raids, there is a profound human cost. Meanwhile, global trade is feeling the heat. In Washington and Brussels, alarm bells are ringing, but concrete diplomatic intervention remains limited. This isn't just another Middle East flare-up. What we're witnessing is the strategic realignment of warfare in the region. Israel is no longer playing defense. The world must ask, is this the cost of regional deterrence or the beginning of a conflict that spirals beyond control?